take effect in Oregon starting tomorrow. That includes the ghost gun ban, why some gun rights advocates have objections. Plus, investigators say a man with developmental disabilities was forced to live and work outside for at least 2 years. How a lengthy human trafficking investigation led to an arrest. Your news starts now. Good morning. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday morning. We start today with yet another weather impact alert day with temperatures reaching in the high 90s. Yes. I'm Devin Haskins. This is Daisy Caballero. Yes. It's getting hot today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay. It's one day.
Yeah.
We dip down, but then, looking at your 7 day.
Yes. Thankfully, it's really only today that we're seeing these really, really warm temperatures aside from yesterday. So yesterday we hit 96 degrees. And we're unfortunately going to be a bit warmer today looking at a few weather models. But before we talk about all of the extensive heat, let's give you a live look at the Reserve Golf Course over in Aloha. Beautiful, beautiful morning and sunrise. And that's also the case for us here in the Rose City through our Wells Fargo Skycam. A little bit of a different story as you're headed over to the coast, the beautiful Oregon coast. We're dealing with some pretty dense fog this morning, and that's for much of the central Oregon coast. 49 degrees out at Cannon Beach this morning. No impacts as we're looking up and down the I-5 corridor, but we are dealing with some foggy conditions for today. If we want to go full screen, if not, we can send it back over to Devin. Devin, I can go ahead and send it back over to you.
Cameras have a mind of their own this morning. All right, new this morning, a new report says Portland is on the doorstep of landing a WNBA expansion team. This comes from Sean Hyken of the Rose Garden Report. Sources told him the Bethal family, the owners of the Portland Thorns, will lead the ownership group for the new team, which would launch in a couple years in 2026. A formal announcement is expected in the next couple of weeks. And if all this sounds familiar, Portland was in this position at this time last year. But the WNBA put things on hold after another potential ownership group pulled out. The WNBA has 12 teams, with San Francisco and Toronto set to join the league over the next couple of years. Portland previously had a WNBA team back in 2000, but the Portland Fire fizzled out after only 3 seasons. Oregon's so-called ghost gun law goes into full effect tomorrow. It means guns or parts that don't have serial numbers, making them essentially untraceable, will become illegal. Alma McCarty has been looking into what the change means moving forward.
Ghost guns, untraceable and undetectable. And in Oregon, starting Sunday, they're illegal.
The parts can be assembled at home, but they have no serial numbers on them.
Parts that people get through the mail or create using a 3D printer.
Oregon was the 13th state to ban ghost guns.
And the new ban on their sale, manufacture, or possession, passed by state lawmakers last year, Amy Wexler with grassroots group Moms Demand Action says is absolutely necessary.
If you are a law-abiding citizen, you should want to have your gun be traceable.
And Michael Crone, special counsel to Oregon's Attorney General, says that's the intent.
This is not going to apply to most gun owners at all, frankly, because most guns are serialized. Since 1968, any gun you buy at a store has had a serial number on it.
Though he points to a growing trend, with criminals increasingly using ghost guns since there's no background check involved and they're much harder to trace.
It's just kind of an obstacle to law enforcement investigations.
Opponents who are trying to reverse the ghost gun ban in federal court argue that it infringes on Second Amendment rights, could get in the way of buying parts, and raises questions about what to do with existing homemade guns to make them legal.
That was Alma McCarty reporting. The AG's office says any federally licensed dealer should be able to help. And starting tomorrow, first-time offenders face a fine of up to $1,000, though repeat offenses could result in higher fines and potentially prison time. Also tomorrow, possession of hard drugs once again becomes a crime in Oregon. Portland Police Chief Bob Day provided some clarity over how officers plan to enforce the new law. The chief says police will check to see if the person has any outstanding warrants or any immediate medical needs. And if not, and they aren't committing another crime, they'll be offered the option of treatment over jail. Police say they'll wait up to 30 minutes for an addiction specialist to arrive. After that, they'll be headed to jail. But what happens if a person is caught multiple times?
But somewhere in here common sense has to prevail, right? If it's, every 2, 3, 4 days, we're contacting the same person over the course of a 30-day period, then, my direction is going to be that we need to take that person to jail.
Due to staffing, deflection, as it's called, will only be offered as an option on weekdays from the hours of 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And that's in part because the county's deflection center won't open until at least mid-October. The chief says he plans to reassess how officers respond as soon as early as next week. Meanwhile, Clackamas and Washington County both say their deflection programs are ready to go. In Clackamas County, it appears suspected drug users will appear in community court, where the DA's office will determine whether that person is eligible for deflection. And in Washington County, law enforcement will hand off those eligible to a peer navigator working for a community-based treatment organization. The county is also working to build 2 drop-off centers in the near future. In Hillsborough, a man stands accused of human trafficking. Detectives say he took advantage of a person with disabilities while being his caretaker. Sydney Dorner has the details.
People who frequent Sunset Esplanade Shopping Center in Hillsborough say they often saw a caring man selling snacks and drinks right as you drove in.
He just wanted to, spread the word of God and sit out there and give drinks, and he would give it away for free, or he would take whatever you had to offer.
Every time I would go to Dollar Tree or Target, I'd come back by. If I have any change left over, I'll hand it to him. He'll offer me like a bottle of water or anything to snack on.
But eventually, people who saw him started to grow concerned and flagged Hillsborough police. After an investigation, they arrested Jack Hauser on Tuesday. Hauser was the young man's caretaker who took over after his mother died.
Him and his mom were living in a motorhome, and she had passed. And so he was kind of out there on the streets.
After collecting evidence from Hauser's home and cars, police believe Hauser was exploiting the man they say was developmentally disabled.
He's really nice, and I don't think he had street smarts where he was able to protect himself. So I think he definitely was a target.
Hillsborough police accuse Hauser of forcing the victim to sell drinks and snacks for several days on end, claiming the young man wasn't given proper shelter or clothes, allegedly only allowed by Hauser to sleep in a car or garden shed.
I do feel sorry for him. Yeah. Like, seriously.
But it doesn't end there. Police also say Hauser didn't let the victim contact others and restricted his access to money and health care.
I guess you just never know sometimes. Kind of scary,
behavior his neighbor is taken aback by.
Yeah.
Saying the family continuously went out of their way to be helpful.
And definitely wouldn't have expected that. They just, it's a very nice neighborhood. Seems like a very safe place, and that's definitely very surprising to hear.
Hauser is expected to appear in court next Thursday.